Think you know the Brooks Ghost? Think again. Introducing the all-new, better-than-ever Ghost 16. Now with nitrogen-infused cushioning for lightweight, supreme softness that feels good every step, every street, every single day. So go ahead, take your daily joyride in the all-new nitrogen-infused Ghost 16. It'll turn your everyday miles into everyday endorphins. Let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast podcast.
When you think back to your childhood, what are you watching on TV? The shows that grabbed your attention. Like for me in the late 70s, it was Buck Rogers. For whatever reason, that show did it for me. I remember getting super excited and literally running around the house freaking out when the intro started playing. I think I was young, like 4, maybe 5 years old. Then wrestling was the big one for me. Like Stampede Wrestling, All-Star Wrestling, World Championship Wrestling, the WWF, of course now the WWE. I watched all the fights, Hogan and the Iron Sheik and Ricky the Dragon, the British Bulldog, Macho Man. So as a fan, we do our best to get a wrestler on every so often. And when Ray Lynn was a guest, you've seen her on WWE Raw, AEW, Women of Wrestling, MCW, Pro Wrestling. We talked about the dynamics of the sport, of course. Family came up, concerts came up, Aliens, Perseverance, and stop me if you've heard this before. Ray Lynn shared the story of how she got into wrestling. It's different than most.
It's kind of sad, but it ends up being a happy thing, right? So when I was 23, I was cutting hair and bartending, and I just wasn't making ends meet. And I partied like really hard all the time. I was always partying. I was just the wild child of the group.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what you do whenever you're that age.
Yeah.
But unexpectedly, my father passed away. He killed himself. So that was like a really heavy thing for me to go through. I took a week off of work, and whenever I went back to work, it was a Monday and it was a bartending night, and the guys had wrestling on television. And this is like my first day back at work, and I was just so drawn to the TV at that moment. And I'm like watching wrestling, and the next week I was watching wrestling, and the week after that I was watching wrestling. And it was just something that kind of helped me cope during that time. And I thought to myself, well, why can't I do this? I can totally do this.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by FKP MMA, Vancouver's #1 training destination at fkpmma.com.
Talmor, Sheshin Murachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
The thing that I fought tooth and nail to bring my son into is Dungeons and Dragons. That is the ultimate solution to parenthood.
I'm Alexis Ohanian. In my podcast, Business Dad, I'm hoping to open up the conversation about balancing careers and family. I talked to Rainn Wilson. I wanted to learn more about Rainn's advice to play D&D with your kids. Business Dad is available now, so be sure to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.